try to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
The boxing world is in absolute chaos right now. And what Roy Jones Jr. just revealed about Canelo Alvarez will leave you speechless. The legendary former 4 Division world champion didn't just pick sides in the most anticipated fight of the year. He completely destroyed Canelo's chances against Terence Crawford with words so brutal, they're sending shockwaves through the entire sport. And honestly, after hearing what Jones had to say, you might never look at Canelo the same way again. Roy Jones Jr., a man who knows greatness when he sees it, just delivered the most devastating analysis of Canelo Alvarez's current state that we've ever heard.
It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. And what I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain. Loves to give us the big fights. Always tried to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
According to Jones, Canelo simply cannot survive against Terence Crawford, and the reasons he gave are absolutely mind-blowing. Jones didn't mince words when he said that Canelo lacks the energy and sharpness he once possessed, the very qualities that made him one of the most feared fighters on the planet. But here's where
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the dance.
It's really shocking. Jones expressed genuine disappointment at what he sees as Canelo's diminished state at this crucial stage of his career. The question that's haunting everyone now is, why does Canelo appear so weakened compared to his prime years? And the answer might be more disturbing than anyone wants to admit. But wait, because Roy Jones Jr. wasn't finished dropping bombs on the boxing community. While he was tearing down Canelo's current form, he was simultaneously building up Terence Crawford in ways that will make your head spin. Jones praised Crawford's determination, focus, and elite skill set with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved.
The grit, and me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that, like, I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. And it, I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right way.
For legendary champions. And here's the kicker. According to Jones, the weight difference that everyone's been obsessing over won't be a deciding factor in this fight. That's right. the size advantage that many believed would be Canelo's trump card, Jones says Crawford's technique, timing, and ring IQ can completely neutralize it. The implications are staggering because if Jones is right, Crawford's skills will expose every single one of Canelo's current limitations, making this matchup far
right way. You know, the nutrition, the you know, like I said, the training. You know, Crawford, he trains hard, so I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know you, like we discussed earlier, you know, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it was actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then I was my second fight, Atlantic City, on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Ben Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
more dangerous than anyone anticipated. The psychological warfare didn't stop there. Roy Jones delivered a warning to Canelo that should send chills down every boxing fan's spine. If Canelo walks into that ring with even a hint of overconfidence, believing that victory over Crawford is guaranteed, is setting himself up for what Jones called a harsh reality check. The legendary boxer emphasized that underestimating Crawford's skill and strategy could lead to one of the most shocking defeats in recent boxing history.
You know, I mean, listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. You know, Roy Jones Jr. You know, put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, you know. So you know, there's times where it affects, and there's times where, you know, I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're gonna be sparring with this added weight, you're gonna be doing the boxing training with this added weight, so you're gonna know how to, you know, maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. You know, I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up, and you know you get big, and then, you know, you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're gonna feel it.
We're talking about a potential beat there so severe that Canelo might face not just a loss, but a tough and potentially punishing defeat that could alter the trajectory of his entire career. The mental game is everything in boxing, and Jones is essentially saying that Canelo's mindset could be his downfall. Now, here's where things get really interesting, because Olympic boxer Omari Jones, and yes, we're talking about a different Jones but equally credible, came forward with revelations about Crawford's preparation that will blow.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez, so that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, you know, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said. You know, you're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself. As I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym. It just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, you know, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight. We see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be that heavy.
Blow your mind. Omari Jones not only supports Crawford's chances against Canelo, but he revealed something that changes everything we thought we knew about this fight. According to Jones, Crawford's approach to gaining weight for this bout is completely different from typical fighters who move up divisions. While most fighters recklessly pack on pounds and hope for the best, Crawford used careful planning and precise execution that borders on scientific perfection. The details of Crawford's transformation are absolutely incredible. This isn't just about getting bigger. Crawford maintained his legendary speed and agility through a combination of proper diet and conditioning that most fighters couldn't even dream of executing. The method.
Add attribute. First attribute, best jab. Crawford. Best defense.
Crawford, nowadays Crawford, I would say early in the fight, Canelo, and earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Medical preparation that Crawford underwent creates what Omari Jones calls a win-win situation. And when you understand the level of dedication involved, it becomes clear why so many experts are backing Crawford despite the size disadvantage. Crawford took this weight class move with the seriousness of a surgeon, implementing proper dieting and training protocols that most fighters ignore. But here's what makes this even more remarkable.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
The physical challenge of facing a bigger opponent like Canelo is absolutely real, but Crawford's skills, discipline, and unwavering commitment have allowed him to adapt in ways that seemed impossible just months ago. This isn't just about adding weight for the sake of size. Crawford enhanced his entire body to carry that additional weight efficiently while maintaining every dangerous quality that made him a two-time undisputed champion. What we're witnessing is a disciplined athlete pushing himself to entirely new limits against one of boxing's most formidable champions, and the results could reach.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is strong. He is, okay? And he understands leverage and he understands those things because he wrestled. Honestly, very true. But Saul Canelo Alvarez is also extremely strong.
Shaped the sport forever. Former world champion Paolo Malignaggi added his voice to the growing chorus of Crawford supporters, and his technical observations are absolutely fascinating. Malignaggi noted Crawford's significant physical transformation. But here's the shocking part. Where most people see potential problems, Malignaggi sees a massive advantage. Crawford appears larger than ever before, but instead of viewing this as a liability that could slow him down, Malignaggi believes Crawford has achieved something that very few fighters in history have managed. He increased his mass without sacrificing even an ounce of his legendary quickness, footwork, or timing. Think about how incredibly rare that is in boxing. Most fighters who move up in weight become slower and less mobile. But Crawford seems to have defied the laws of physics.
He understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before. Because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's Crawford. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you got to work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you're talking about right here, right? And so this is, I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
I don't know,
it
feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore.
You need big words to get out of fights. You need big words to get out of fights. But okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey, sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. He had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence, he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Kawi and a young George Foreman. And
The technical breakdown gets even more impressive when you consider what Crawford actually accomplished. According to multiple experts, Crawford struck the perfect balance in his transformation, gaining the strength and durability needed to face a naturally larger opponent like Canelo while maintaining every bit of the agility required to execute his devastating fighting style. Malignaggi credits Crawford's professionalism and obsessive attention to training detail, noting that the physical growth appears to complement rather than compromise his existing skill set. The implications are staggering. Crawford might not only perform at his peak despite the significant weight jump, but could actually benefit from the added power when facing Canelo's legendary pressure. Renowned boxing analyst Max Kellerman provided what might be the most devastating technical breakdown of this matchup that we've heard yet. Kellerman's analysis focused on something that casual fans might overlook but could determine the entire outcome of this fight.
First of all, he got to go in there and he just got to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, show his IQ, show him why he's a two-time undisputed, world champion, and go in there with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. There's a big weight difference, a big weight jump. That could be a difference in the fight. Because obviously, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a foot of power. I'm a foot of that size difference, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, we'll just all know that, hey, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not, he can't really, he's testing himself. He's testing himself a great fighter. So. And I don't doubt him, I don't got no doubt in my mind. He's a 2-time undisputed world champion for a reason. So, and I don't think none's gonna phase him in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the power, maybe the size, you know what I'm saying? And Canelo, he's not knocking Canelo out. So he just gotta go in there just IQ.
Would you lean towards Canelo still in that fight?
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it, you know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, obviously the power. And Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ, you know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a lot much bigger guys, So I know the Crawford's power ain't gonna phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't gonna phase him either, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
The jab. According to Kellerman, Crawford's jab has evolved into one of the most precise and effective weapons in all of boxing today. We're talking about a punch that's lightning fast, perfectly timed, and capable of controlling the entire rhythm of a fight. But here's where Kellerman delivered a crushing blow to Canelo's supporters. He revealed that Canelo's jab, which was once razor-sharp earlier in his career, has significantly diminished in recent years. This technical advantage gives Crawford a clear edge in range control and point scoring that could prove decisive over 12 rounds.
Maybe he's a little overrated. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has, Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within, well, it's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, going to carry it, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
But Kellerman wasn't finished destroying Canelo's chances. He pointed to Crawford's superior tactical intelligence, describing him as a fighter who makes real-time adjustments and exploits openings that other fighters can't even see. This contrasts sharply with Canelo's current reliance on his natural size, strength, and power, advantages that often allow him to dominate smaller opponents through sheer physical force. However, if Crawford can neutralize Canelo's forward momentum and force him into a thinking match, the tactical battle will heavily favor Crawford. The combination of technical precision and fight IQ might be Crawford's most dangerous weapons going into this clash. Even Showbiz, known for his balanced perspective on boxing matchups, couldn't ignore the implications of what we're seeing. While he acknowledged Canelo's incredible physical strength and the intensity of his training camps that have consistently allowed him to maintain dominance at the highest levels, he also praised Crawford's unique background in ways that highlight a massive advantage. Crawford's early experience in wrestling has given him an exceptional ability to read opponents, counter their tactics, and adapt under the most intense pressure. Canelo's ability to absorb punishment, apply relentless pressure, and execute crisp counterpunches certainly makes him dangerous for any fighter. But Crawford's skill set might be the perfect antidote. Across the entire boxing community, one theme has emerged that should terrify Canelo's supporters. Everyone agrees that Crawford's strategy will be the determining factor in this fight's outcome. This isn't just another bout on the calendar. This is being recognized as a defining moment in Crawford's career that could solidify his place among the all-time greats forever. A victory over a champion of Canelo's caliber would erase every lingering doubt about Crawford's legacy and elevate him to heights that seemed impossible just years ago. The recommended game plan for Crawford is both simple and devastatingly effective. Focus on controlling distance. Use angles to neutralize Canelo's forward march, and gradually weigh him down through a systematic approach that exploits every technical advantage. Multiple experts agree that this fight will come down to mental sharpness as much as physical ability, with the winner likely being whoever can stay composed and stick to their strategy for all 12 grueling rounds. Super middleweight contender Edgar Berlanga offered insight into Crawford's mental approach that reveals the champion mindset at work. Berlanga urged Crawford to stay true to the style and approach that brought him success rather than trying to overcompensate for the size difference. Moving up 2 weight divisions is undeniably a massive challenge, but it also naturally levels the playing field in ways that favor a technically superior fighter. Crawford's skill, ring IQ, and adaptability are far more important than trying to match Canelo physically. Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas provided perhaps the most powerful endorsement of Crawford's chances with words that should give every boxing fan chills. Atlas believes Crawford is special and possesses greatness within him, a rare combination of physical tools, technical mastery, and mental strength that allows him to rise to any occasion. According to Atlas, greatness isn't simply about talent. It's about the ability to deliver when the stakes are at their absolute highest. Crawford has repeatedly demonstrated this quality throughout his career, and this fight against Canelo represents another opportunity to showcase that greatness on the biggest possible stage. The evidence is overwhelming, the expert opinions are nearly unanimous, and the technical breakdown reveals advantages that Canelo might not be able to overcome. Roy Jones Jr. started this conversation by revealing why he believes Canelo can't survive against Crawford, and after examining every angle, every expert opinion, and every technical advantage, it's becoming clear that we might be witnessing the beginning of the end of Canelo's reign as boxing's biggest star. September can't come fast enough.